everybody, it's Kimberly. I'm an eternal life student, which simply means human. At the end of the day, that really is the only title that we need. I think people are like walking books, living libraries. We each have our own stories to share, and by sharing them together, we can grow stronger. And today, I have a guest here to share his story. Hi, Siddharth. How are you doing?
Hello, ma'am. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I am doing great as well. Thank you so much for being here. I wanted to tell everybody a little bit
Mhm.
about the topic and a little bit
Yeah.
about yourself, and then we can get right into it. Sound good?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, so my guest today is Siddharth Rana, and he is a content creator for Siestro. I believe you're wearing the shirt. Yes.
Yeah. The
Awesome.
timing.
Yeah, perfect timing. And what is that a picture of on this shirt?
That's a picture of a flying rocket, but it's not flying. It's just on my chest, but it's basically depicted as flying rocket. So yeah,
Very cool.
it's a rocket that is yet to fly, but yeah, it's flying.
Nice. So, our topic today is space time and visualizing time. And we're going to talk about
Okay.
the dimension to move and perceive all time at the same time. So, there's a lot of time in there,
That's yeah. That's
right?
time is everywhere.
Yes. So,
Hmm.
would you like to explain a little bit about the topic?
So first of all, let's just give you a basic introduction. What is space, time, and what's every this whole time thing.
Yes.
So we all live in a three-dimensional world, and when I
Mhm.
say three-dimensional, it means that the accessible three-dimensional, like we can
Okay.
access the world, we only with three dimensions. We can move forward and backward, and we can move upward and downward. We can just climb some ladders, or just move up stairs, and we can move downstairs, and we can move right and left as well. So that is basically three accessible dimensions that are accessible to us. We can move anywhere we want, anywhere we want in these three dimensions, and we can identify any event happening in those three dimensions just by assigning it a certain coordinates, and that's those coordinates are basically x, y, z, and
Okay.
we can just say that okay, that happening at x, at y, and at z at a certain distance from like it's a certain distance from me, and that
Mhm.
event is happening. So I can just assign it as to identify the happening of the event. However,
Mhm.
the three dimension is not enough to identify a certain event because you must need a time. For
Okay.
example, if I ask you, ma'am, like I have to meet you at
Okay.
near Starbucks. So your next question to me
What
like would
time,
be
right?
what time? So
Yes.
when? I just only gave you where. Like I just only gave you where. We have to meet at near Starbucks. But next question, what time? When?
True.
So without when, where is, it's basically, it doesn't make any sense. And
Mhm.
same goes otherwise as well. Without where, when does not make any sense. So, but however, this Zoom meeting that we are doing right now here,
Mhm.
we do not have to be at a right position to be
Okay.
like you are sitting in America and I'm sitting in India,
Yes.
but still we are having this meeting. But we
Yes.
only have to to be present in a certain time that basically matches our schedule, and then we can have the meeting. We don't have to be at the right place at the right time. We only have to be at the right time, and that somehow Zoom breaks the whole space time continuum. But
It's
that's
true.
basically a digital thing. But again, yeah, the space time, we must need time to identify space, and we must need space to identify time. So these thing goes hand in hand. So space and time, they are basically co-related with each other. You cannot just say that there exists only space. No, there exists space with the time, or time with the space. So the three dimensions are space, and then the fourth dimension that is not completely accessible to us is the time. We are
Okay.
only allowed, or we are only moving to the future at the rate of 1 second per second, but we are only moving to the future. Don't have any access to the past. It's like we are the prisoners of the present, and only given the freedom to move to the future. And again, that movement to the future is not in our hand, but still we are only
Mhm.
moving to the future. We don't have the access to the past. So that's how the space time and the whole 3 dimension, 4 dimension thing is.
Great examples, very good examples.
Yeah,
I hope everyone's keeping
yeah,
up with us.
yeah.
Um,
Like I tried my best to keep it simple.
no, very good examples. So, okay, so you know me, I've got lots of questions as always.
Yeah.
All right, so
Hmm.
past, present, future is the typical thing that people use when they're describing time, right? I said typical, not
Hmm.
you.
Right.
I know how you think about the past, right?
Yeah, that's
But
different. Yeah. Hmm.
yes. Um, so with that said,
Hmm.
I'm going to throw in some weird questions for you because you know I like to shake it up a little bit. So
I'm all
first
done.
one,
Yeah.
yeah. So the first one is let's talk about past because I know time travel and things like that you enjoy. But what
Hmm.
about a photograph, right? That
Hmm.
captured something in the past. You can't change what
Hmm.
happened in the photograph, right? But it
Hmm.
did occur in the past.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
um, is that a way of capturing it?
So yeah, we can like with this like camera right here, the phone right here we
Hmm.
have, we can capture the moment, the present moment, and then we can basically see that present moment in the future, and then that present moment that was present to for us became the past.
Yes.
So we can basically that's how we can basically see the past, and basically at the very basic level, like if you really technically speak, everything that you see in the world is actually past
Hmm.
because basically what we are seeing is we are seeing lights coming to us and then lights going into our eyes and falling into our retina and then brain recognizes that whole thing. So that process, that whole process, like for example, if I just hold this pen right here and I have this light coming right from right there, that
Hmm.
light will first hit this pen and along with around like whole this room, and then from that light hitting those things, then it will be reflected back, then it will be reflected towards my eyes, and then I will see those things. So this whole process takes certain time, even though it's not very, it's
Yes.
very negligible, but still it takes some time. So we are basically seeing the past, and the more distance uh, there is between a light source and a thing that you want to see, the more distance between these things exist, the farther back into the time you would see. So the universe is huge. So when you look up in the sky, and when you, for example, when you're seeing stars, those stars are not in the present moment. Maybe it could happen that those stars that you're seeing right now, they are no longer there, and that's
Hmm.
possibly what happens right now. Those stars are not even no longer there. Maybe they
Hmm.
are shifted into some other another space location, or maybe they are not even there at all. They are already supernova, so they're basically already burst. But still, you are seeing the past of the star because it takes light from there to come to us. So basically, the light is old. For example, the sun is around 8 minutes and 20-second light minutes far away from us. So basically,
Okay.
whatever light is coming from the sun is actually been been in the entire vacuum of space for 8 minutes and 20 seconds. So basically, we are seeing the sun as it was before 8 minutes and 20 seconds. And let me tell you an interesting fact.
Okay.
If somehow, if some higher being grab the sun and just crush it or just throw it
Okay.
somewhere else in the cosmos, we will still be seeing sun for 8 minutes and 20 seconds, even though sun is not there. That's very
Huh.
interesting. But again, the more interesting part is that it's not only we will seeing the sun, but the gravity, the sun that it holds the planet, it holds everything, it holds our Earth. That
Hmm.
gravity will also be there for around 8 minutes and 20 seconds as well. Will we still be rotating? I mean, revolving around the sun, even though when sun is not there at the current time, we'll still be seeing sun, and we'll still be experiencing the gravity of the sun. We'll still be revolving around the sun, when even it's not there. So that's very,
That's very
interesting.
interesting. Yeah, no, that's very
Yeah.
interesting. So,
Mm-hmm.
okay, switching it a little bit. Something I've been fascinated with is, and it's a little related, is with history, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
considered our past and what we've learned from it, right? And I always like to say, what if we didn't study our history? How different would things
Mm-hmm.
be? We have the knowledge already
Mm-hmm.
from things, and what if you just focused on the future instead? um how
Mm-hmm.
how much would things be different? And then I'm going to add one more thing in there. Let's talk about archaeologists, right?
Okay.
So for
Mm-hmm.
example, if we didn't take the time to find dinosaur bones and things like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
um what what would be missing from what we've learned already if we wanted to move to the future? Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
Yeah, you know what? The history, it plays an essential role
Mm-hmm.
in building the future. If there is
Mm-hmm.
no history, like the history is always there. But if we haven't encountered history, if we haven't read about history, then the future will be different. However, I still think that it would practically be impossible to always uh, make us covered from history. Like we always encounter history anyway. So
Yes.
even though if we say that, okay, like I will try to avoid history, I will not read any book, I will not attend any lecture of history, but still I will be exposed to history in some way or other.
Sure.
So again, yeah, that's like if for example, if you, as you mentioned, if we haven't we haven't found the bones of dinosaur, or the remains of dinosaur, then we would have a different understanding of the past. We say that somewhat we evolved from the dinosaurs. No, not
Hmm.
exactly, but somewhat like from those species at all. And because when dinosaurs got extinct because of
Hmm.
that meteor hitting the Earth, and yeah, that's basically will change the future, will change our building future,
Hmm.
because and we have certain elements from the past that suggest that life existed even before humans were there on this
Yes.
planet.
Yes.
But if we haven't encountered any remains of the dinosaur, then we would think to ourselves that we are the first species on Earth.
Yes.
So first of all, we'll be some sort of egoistic person. We'll have
Hmm.
that ego that we are the first and we might be the last on this earth. But
Right.
yeah, but yeah,
No,
that is basically like on a bigger level, that will not do anything on a greater scale. Like we don't have any information about the history, but still, on a very sort of philosophical level, sort of what we think of the future is, it just some change something about that only, like, but still the like if there were dinosaurs, but
Mhm.
I haven't found any remains of a dinosaur, then I just can't say that there were not dinosaurs at that time. It's just that I
Yeah,
haven't encountered those yet. So past exists, even you deny it, but it still exists out there,
it
because that is
still
how
exists.
you came here, that is how your present is, or the future
Eh,
is.
yeah, exactly. So, okay,
Mm.
so with that said, um,
Yeah.
a lot of times that's where you'll see people, some people get stuck in the past. So it's opposite,
Hmm.
right? Where there's some
Hmm.
that don't want to look at the past, they just want to focus on the future. And then there's some that don't want to leave the past. They want to stay in the
Yeah.
past, right?
Hmm.
Instead of moving to the future. So you
Hmm.
can have a different type of problem where instead of moving forward, they're standing still. True?
Yeah, like if you are like standing still again, we discussed this in our last podcast as well, I
Yes.
guess. Are you stuck in the past? So
Yep.
yeah, so they would be two types of people. Those who are stuck in the past because something happened that they are not able to detach themselves from that event. So they are always thinking about that. Okay, that happened, that happened. But if there again, there are some certain people, certain types of people that who are basically learning from the past. They are trying to gain more information from the past. So that's how when they are stuck in the past, they are learning. more ways that they can live the past to have a different future. So yeah, so basically they're the more they learn, the more they think of a of new way of living the past, and thus creating a certain, like, a whole new future.
Mm-hmm.
So technically speaking, they are not actually thinking about the past. Those
I
people
think.
who learn from the past, they're actually thinking about creating a new future
Mhm.
from a different past that they could have lived in the past.
Yeah,
So I mean, like, these things are different. Like,
they yeah, no.
even though I'm still.
Okay, so
Hmm, hmm,
let's look at the present now,
yeah.
right?
No. Yeah.
We've talked about the past, a little bit of the future. Let's talk about now. How different is the present for people? Because you're experiencing it as you go along, and time is still
Hmm,
going. You can't just stay in the present. It's ever changing based off of time, right?
hmm.
Um, So I hear people all the time who say, stop and enjoy the moment because they're too busy working toward the next thing that they have to do.
Hmm.
So is there a way to uh, enjoy the present before it's gone?
I mean, you know what? We shouldn't look for ways to enjoy the present. We just have to, be in the present.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we, like, instead of finding ways to enjoy the present, we okay, like, how many ways I could enjoy the
Mm-hmm.
present is already gone. So
Yes.
just you have to just be in the moment, just interact with people, interact with the surrounding, interact with the nature.
Yes.
That's a whole enjoyment that you can get. You, instead of looking for ways, like, what do I have to do for enjoyment, or for, things like that. No, there is no way to enjoy a certain thing, but you just enjoy. You just enjoy.
Yes.
There are no pathways to enjoyment.
It's just
See,
be,
enjoyment.
right?
Yeah, it's just
Just
be. Yeah,
be in the
enjoyment.
moment.
Yeah, enjoyment is not a destination, but it's a path. So you have to be on the path, and
Right.
the destination is, like, there is no destination.
Mhm.
Most of the time people often limit their self from thinking that there's only one destination. Then that destination is actually, mostly success, and we have
Mhm.
to arrive in the success. And whatever pathway we choose, we eventually have to end up in the success. And we don't end up anywhere, that's not success. And then again we have to just keep going. I mean, like, you can think whatever you want to, but again, that is not beneficial for you. Success, you should not define success that once you attain it, you have nowhere to go. That's not
Mhm.
success. Like, if you really have to define success, success should come within you. Like, when you do certain work, for example, when I'm writing some papers, or when I'm
Mhm.
just writing my book. See, publishing my books is not my success, but writing those books, like, at the very first place, is my success. The path is my success. So if
Yes.
you, like, really want to define success, like, it's my definition again. So if you, like, really want to define success, you can define success in a way that basically channelizes you on the path. And just the path is a success, not the destination. And there is no destination. Like, you cannot arrive anywhere where you say that, okay, I have nowhere to go. There is no
Hmm.
destination. There's only station. You just can rush on the station, and there are some many more stations. So there is no only
Yes.
one destination. There are multiple. So you just, uh, you take a break, and just, live life.
Hmm.
We often tend to lack in the feeling of living life, and just live life. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, just, keep going and keep, like,
No, it's
yeah.
true. You know, too
Hmm.
often people, like you said, they're looking, it's almost like the prize. I don't know, the final destination, like they did it. They need that
Yeah.
accomplishment to say, okay, I reached it, I did it, I accomplished it. But that's not what life
Hmm.
is about, right? Everything in
Hmm.
life
Hmm.
is the accomplishment. You have to enjoy
Right.
each piece of it. And in order to do that,
Hmm.
you do have to kind of be in the present. You have to
Hmm.
be now. If you're too
Hmm.
busy focusing on the next thing, you're going to lose out on whatever lesson you can have, whatever enjoyment's going on,
Hmm.
and just the beauty of life that's going there at the
Hmm.
moment, right?
Yeah. I mean, like if you you can appreciate yourself. Like if you just accomplish something, you can again appreciate yourself. But that should not make you stop to
Yes,
exploring further. That like if
true.
you just say that okay, I attained success and there is nowhere to go, and I just have to, that's it. No, life is not that simple, and life is basically, its life does not end. It's just,
Correct.
just keep living
Mm-hmm.
further, even when you are not in on this planet anymore. But still, you are living in the form of memories. It's the people
Yes.
that keeps you alive in their
Mm-hmm.
memories. So I mean, you're always living, no matter where you are and when you are.
True. But so one thing that I've kind of noticed a lot of people do is
Hmm.
they give themselves a timeline where
Hmm.
it's like we were saying, it's a building block to where they say, okay, I went to school, I got married,
Hmm.
I have a job, I got married, I had kids, I retired. Like it's almost the thing that they're told that this is what you need
Hmm.
to accomplish to be ready, like to be done,
Hmm.
to hit that final mark. But
Hmm.
that's where sometimes people who retire at the end
Hmm.
find that they don't know what else to do because they've
Hmm.
given themselves that timeline instead of realizing
Uh,
there's so much more out there they can still do. So
hmm.
you end up kind of just limiting yourself. True.
Yeah, yeah, don't limit yourself. Just you should never assign certain age limit to yourself. Okay, at the age of 20, I will be doing this, and at the age of
Mm-hmm.
30, I'll be marrying, and at the age of like maybe 30 or 32, I'll be having
Mm-hmm.
kids, and I'll be having, building family. No, like life, you should not keep just one common attitude to live life. Life is always evolving, so you have to evolve with life as well.
Yes.
So just do what comes to you. if,
Yeah.
if it's coming to you, and just just live life and explore further. Like you never limit yourself from exploring further. Like there is always a further, and there's no age, there's no definite age to do any certain task in life.
True.
If I'm
I'm just
studying, and if
I
I say
know a
that,
woman
yeah,
just jumped out of an airplane. She's in her hundreds, 100 years
yeah.
old, jumping out of an airplane.
So exactly, like there is
Right?
no age. Like if you like do like what you love to do. That is basically
Yes.
what life is. Like if you
Yes.
at the age of maybe 10 or 20, you're still struggling to find your passion to
Hmm.
the thing that you love the most. But still eventually you will you will be exposed to the enlightenments of the surrounding, of the nature. You'll eventually find what you love the most, and do what you want to do, and do what you love to do, and do whatever you would do for free, for no cost at all. And that pursue it as a again passion and your career as well.
Exactly. So, okay,
Mm.
you were talking about when you're young and you're learning in school and things like that. That is kind of also a key factor where I think once you're done with regular school, before if you go to
Mm.
college, university, or anything, you're taught in school. There's certain things you have to do, right?
Mm.
You need
Mm.
to be able to graduate school to go to college or to go get a job and things like that. So they already put you on that path of the timeline.
Mm.
True. Um, so what if they did something different? What if
Mm.
instead of preparing you to get that job, to get married, to go to university and stuff like that, it's
Mm.
just left open and people are
Yeah,
free to do what they want to do based off of what
yeah,
they've experienced, trying to
yeah.
think outside the box a little bit.
That is what right now is lacking in our education system. Like
Mhm.
again, I'm literally no one to say anything about education system, but again, it's very controversial. But still, uh, our education system, it's like it's totally based upon the conventional topics, the conventional learnings. Like you have to do this at certain age, and then you have to do this at certain age,
Yes.
and they basically, in some way or other, they limit yourself to even exploring further. They
Hmm.
kill your curiosity. Like they basically say to you that don't think further. I said
Hmm.
this, and you have to follow this.
Yeah.
So that's what lacks in our education system. Like I mean, like if you really have to teach a child, you have to let it explore further. You don't
Yes.
have to kill his or her curiosity. Just
Hmm.
just keep the doors of the future open to that child. You
Yes.
just cannot open door to the future by yourself. Just okay, right. I got that, that you have to uh basically give a certain picture of the future, like okay, you there are multiple doors to the future. You can teach that, but again,
Yeah.
you cannot do, okay, this is a door and you have to follow this door only. There are no other doors, you have to follow this door only. No, that's
Right.
not how teaching should be. You can say that, okay, there are multiple doors, and again, I taught you well enough to how to open doors to the future. That's my teaching. I have already taught a child that, okay, that is how you open a door. And then again, I have to let his or her curiosity drive him or her to
Hmm.
open the door and just explore the future. And that's
Yes.
how teaching and education should be. And
Definitely.
yeah.
I So with that said, I think some things that as we grow older, a lot of times people start to lose their imagination that you used to have when you were younger as
Mhm.
a child. Would you agree with this? And
Uh, it depends on the environment. It depends upon the teaching that you have been involved in the past, and like how the people surrounding you have taught you. Like if the people around you have a limited mind, a limited imagination, then you will have a limited imagination too. You just
true.
can't open your mind with like beyond that, because
Hmm.
the world around you is very limited, so your world will be limited than the limited world. So your world will still be limited. So
Yes.
it depends on the surrounding as well. So if your surrounding is really well open, so your
Hmm.
imagination will be vast and will be wide open and will be very fruitful.
Yes. So,
Hmm.
okay, we talked a little bit about the past, we talked a little bit about the present. Let's talk about the future. How
Hmm.
different do you think it is with someone who has a future mindset? The things that they're working toward is all in the future, versus
Hmm.
looking at the past, the present. They're looking to see, okay, how can I build and get to the
Hmm.
future point that they're looking for?
Hmm.
What do you
You know,
think?
these kind of people who always think about the future, they think a lot about their decision.
Hmm.
Whenever they are going to take any action or any certain decision,
Hmm.
they don't just do, they think and do, because
Yes.
they are actually thinking a lot of the future. They are for example, like I'm not that kind of a person who always think about the future. I'm just kind of a, so I would align myself on a, on the middle of the scale.
Okay.
I'm also I think a lot of the past as well, and I also think about the future as well, because like I have a person in my mind which I have to be in the future, and like that the whole future is as well. And so yeah, those person who thinks a lot of the future, they all the time they analyze the future possibilities that will
Yep.
be in the future, while being in the now, while being in the present. So there are multiple future, there are multiple pathways to the in the future, and they are at the same time they are basically analyzing the possibilities to arrive in each of those future pathways. So
Mm-hmm.
they are thinking about this pathway, they're also thinking about this path, and they're also thinking about this path as well. They are
Mm-hmm.
all the time they are all thinking about all future paths to arrive in one future. So it's like they have to eventually they have to choose between several future into just being just one future.
True. So
Hmm.
another thing I like to think about is chaos theory.
Yeah,
Where
but classic.
where
Hmm.
no matter how much you plan, no matter how much you organize, there's always that one element that
Hmm.
you have absolutely no control over that can change your whole plan. So if you are planning for the future, you have to keep that in mind. True,
Right.
because
Yeah.
it's gonna push you in there is things that can push you in a completely different path than what your goal
Hmm.
was. Do
Like
you
even the
agree?
decision, like even the thought. that you think, okay, I have to take the decision. Even this thought right here in the mind that is not
Hmm.
even out yet in the world can actually change, can actually transform the whole future itself. Like you
True.
don't, the action should, like the action does not need to be practical.
Yes.
Even a thought to take the decision or not, that thought can also take the future. So when like the future is out there and the future is yet to happen. So you have to eventually have to choose the future, like you have to decide what your future has to be. But
Hmm.
on a greater scale, you're not deciding. Even the decision that you're all making is somewhat predestined, but again, that's a different thing. That's a different conversation.
Yep.
But yeah, just keeping on that level, just keeping on that level. So even the decision, like the small decision that you take in life, can actually open up multiple future possibilities. And even just the thought to take that decision, to take action of that decision or not, that thought can also transform the whole future possibilities. So
Yes.
it's like whole chaos, the
Yeah.
butterfly effect, and you can say chaos theory. It's like whole thing. Just a small decision can transform your whole future, or even it can also open multiple pathways to future. It can maybe shrink down to few future pathways. So it's basically the whole chaos thing. It
Yeah.
can
No,
open
I mean,
multiple pathways. It can just eliminate some pathways.
yes. So, like, for example, I had switched jobs over a year ago. And
Mm-hmm.
this can show you an example where before I switched the job, I had to decide, okay, like, is how far is the drive? How different are the times? How is it going to affect everything that I
Mm-hmm.
currently am doing?
Mm-hmm.
And those are the things that you're not sure what's about to happen. That's the future. True. And
Mm-hmm.
until you experience it, you can't prepare for anything that's about to happen
Yeah.
other than what you can look at now.
Hmm.
True?
Yeah, but even like instead of thinking too much about the future, like some people they often, even like myself, I myself used to think a lot about the future. Like before taking any action, I used to think a lot about the future, like what's gonna happen and what's not gonna happen, and whether
Mm-hmm.
things will be in my favor or not.
Mm-hmm.
Even just taking this job at Sastra, I was
Yeah.
thinking a lot, like the time I will be reaching there, and what conveyance
Mm-hmm.
I will be using, and how far is it from a place, and should I even take this step. But once I'm in the job, and once I'm experienced enough to say something about that job, I'm now like, okay, that's how life is, and
Yeah.
I'm all good with it. Like you
I
have to, yeah, you have to be experienced enough in order to take certain decision in life. And just taking decision makes you experienced, and by being experienced, you can also take further decisions. So it's like whole
true.
loop: decision makes experience, and experience makes decisions.
I think one of the key things is adaptability. True.
Yeah, yeah.
That is the difference when you're going from past, present, future combination
Hmm.
in how you adapt to the differences around you. Um,
Hmm.
right? You don't have control over it, but you do have control over how you adapt to it. And so
Yeah.
that's one thing you can do.
That is why you should not limit yourself. You should always keep exploring. You should always be curious.
Yes.
Never kill your curiosity, because it's only the curiosity and desire to invent or desire to do something that makes the future, or that builds the future. So you just have to be curious about your surrounding, and
Definitely.
just don't think about anything too much. Just like there are times when you have to think too much, and there are times when you don't have to think too much, but still, like there like this is life. Sometimes you
Right.
have to do a lot, and sometimes you don't have to do a lot, and just you have to keep a balance between these. So that's all life.
True. I am an excellent overthinker.
Mhm.
Where I like to plan out
Same.
everything, overthink, but like,
Yeah.
and I know it's a waste of time. I know it doesn't matter what I'm thinking because whatever's going to happen is going to happen. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But I find a lot of people still, they want that control or they want to have a plan. They want to feel comfortable. I guess it's more of a comfort level just so that you know
Mm.
to
You know,
prepare.
yeah, as I said in the last podcast, that we people often tend to oppose any change. So if I'm comfortable enough, and if someone asks me to do some different thing, and if I'm comfortable, I will oppose that change. No matter what happens,
Yeah,
I will tend to be in the same state. So it's
hmm
basically the inertia of human. You know, there's a term
yes,
called inertia in physics as well. But yeah, it's inertia of human that we often tend to oppose any change. And
true.
yeah, that's how the human instinct is. We often tend to oppose. And so
Very
that
true.
you can oppose, but still like you have to, but don't kill your curiosity, even though
Yes.
even not changing but still allowing the change to mean something to you can also
hmm
do something to you, like say, can something can trigger some curiosity to you. So if you're okay with not changing, don't change, but still like at least allow that change to make some sense to you.
Yes.
So that's how you grow, that's how you evolve in life.
Definitely. So, okay, so
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that we've talked about in the past is universe, right? And how
Mm-hmm.
sometimes there's different types of reasons why things happen, whether it's a message,
Mm-hmm.
whether you're put in a situation.
Mm-hmm.
So if something is happening around you that will change you from your comfort, usually there's a reason to it. I believe that it's to
Mm-hmm.
make you grow. It's to bring you to the next step of something. And the more you
Mm-hmm.
fight it, the more it's gonna like push. I don't know the better word to
Yeah.
use. Do
Yeah.
you agree with that? Like, do you think
Yeah,
everything
it's
happens for a reason?
see there's a law in called Murphy's law.
Hmm
It basically states that if anything can happen, will happen. So
Yes.
it's basically the movie version of Interstellar. Like in the movie Interstellar, the Murphy's law is used. So basically, the actual definition of this Murphy's law is if anything, if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. And so
Yes.
the more generalized definition of Murphy's law is present in the Interstellar movie, and it's like if anything can happen, will happen. So
hmm
basically, it traces out multiple possibilities of the future, and
So, we originally were talking about space and time in the beginning of the podcast. So, I wanted to kind of bring us back to that. And can you tell
yeah,
us a little more about this?
yeah, we talked a lot about like we touched a lot of aspect of the whole reality, but our main topic our main topic should be space and time, and it is
Yes.
space and time. So yeah, the space and time. So as we discussed in the beginning of this podcast, that space is three-dimensional, and like how when is incomplete without where, and where is incomplete without when. Like the
Yes.
space is incomplete without time, and time is incomplete without space. So you would not give a space without time, neither
hmm
you would give a time without a space. So
Yes.
you have to give both space and time, where and when simultaneously in order
Yes.
to encounter an event. If I just throw this pen downward, and if I just say that if I'm encountering this event, I have to be present in this right moment at the right time, plus at the right space, at the right location, in order to encounter
hmm
this pen falling down. So that's the space and time. That's basically the space and time, but they are basically correlated to each other. They are always dancing in the cosmos, hand in hand, and they just beautiful.
Yes. So,
So
do
there's
they balance each
then
other?
yeah.
Is it a balance
I mean, it's
between
not,
them?
I mean, you can say that it's a balance, but it's more sort of a uh, being one. It's not about I have to be space and I have to be time. It's about
hmm
being one. It's like emerging into just one point. So the space and time, they're also emerging to one point in order to give reality.
Okay.
So where space and time intersect, so there's a graph of space and there's a graph of time. So where the
Hmm.
graph of space and time intersect each other, there at that point that becomes now, and that is how we define now.
Okay.
Particular
No,
space and
that's
time
good.
intersecting at one point. And you know what? The whole space and time graph intersecting each other,
Hmm.
it gives us what we call word line or timeline. So
Hmm.
we like often use the word timeline, even though it's not only time. We now know that it's whole space and timeline. So just combining these two things, it just we came up with this thing word line. So it's basically
Hmm.
word line. It's basically the sort of intersection of the space and time. So if I have to meet with you in this podcast, my world line should intersect your world line, and that is
Hmm.
how we met each other. That is how we are doing this podcast right now. That is how we are present in now, and the
Yes.
our world line sort of intersecting each other, and then we are uh, happening to like do this conversation to as now.
Exactly. Like, okay, for example, right now it's 11:15 in the morning where I am.
And right
And what
now
time is it?
it's 8:46 p.m. where I'm in India, and it's
Exactly.
8:46 p.m. So
So
it's around
where,
nine in our backwards. Like our time is around 9 hours forward in the future. We are actually in the future. Like, if you technically speak, we are in the future and you are in the past.
yes.
Even though everything is the past, but yeah, we are in the future.
Yes.
It's
So
time.
I mean, time zone is interesting.
Yeah, time zone. Yeah.
So what about a person who they go from one spot, right? And now they're
Hmm.
into another time zone. So the timing has
Hmm.
changed. So
Hmm.
you know that I don't know what you would call that. Not past, not future, not present. It's a combination of all of it because when and where you have
Hmm.
identified, but it's still different from their
Hmm.
the start point, if that makes sense.
I mean, yeah, it's like your biological clock, or what we call there's something circadian rhythm, or like if I just pronounce it correctly, it's a
Yes.
circadian rhythm or something like that. It's a biological clock inside human. So, and that is how we perceive time. We sort of perceive the perception of time from the outer
Hmm.
world. Whatever happen, like for example, like even when I'm sitting, and when I'm closing my eyes, I'm not doing anything, I'm not seeing anything. Even though there's something in me that basically tells me that time is ticking. I'm not seeing anything, but still there's something in me that says time is ticking. So that's
True.
basically the biological clock. So when we shift from one time zone to other time zone, even though our clock inside us is ticking, our clock is saying to us, okay, it's been 1 hour, it's been 2 hours, it's been 3 hours.
Yep.
But when we arrive at different time zone, and then we say, okay, when I get out from my country, it was night time. But when I
Hmm.
arrive later on, it's again night, and it's been around since 12 hours. I've been flying, and
Yes.
my brain is trained, or my brain is it's like my brain only knows that after 12 hours the day should change, or the enlightenment of the day should change. Like it's day, it should become
Hmm.
night, it should be night after day. But still, if I'm even after perceiving 12 hours of my journey, and if I'm seeing night after night, even after 12 hours of the journey, my brain
Hmm.
would be confused. And that is what your first flight from country to country makes you do in the brain.
Yes.
So you got a
Yes.
lot of confusion. Okay, I got out at night, and I'm still reaching at night, even though I've experienced the whole 12 hours or maybe more. It should change. Your brain would be like, the time should change. Like, it should be morning, but again, it's again night. You can sleep
Yes.
more if you want to. Hmm.
So, with that said,
Hmm.
let's switch a little
Hmm.
bit to the animals of the world.
Hmm.
When you talk about a nocturnal animal, or like the animals that only come out at night versus day, the timing is different
Hmm.
for them for different reasons, which is kind of
Hmm.
interesting on
Yeah.
itself.
Hmm.
So, if
Hmm.
someone only focuses on the night, how does
Hmm.
that change their present? versus someone who focuses on the day.
I mean, see, since I'm a day person, we all are
Mhm.
day person. Like we humans are a day person. Like as we can, account for that. We all are mostly a day person. We mostly sleep at night. Even though there are some people like me who works at night.
Yep.
But like I don't work at night, but I have like it can get around 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. till I'm
Yes.
working. But yeah, that so basically we humans are a day mostly day persons, day
Hmm.
people, and so if as a day person I see someone see some animal who is say a night person like an owl. An
Yep.
owl the owl is basically it for that owl the day emerges at night when we'll
Hmm.
be sleeping, when humans will be sleeping, the owl will awake, or the owl
Hmm.
will wake up at that moment. So for the owl, that's how life is, that's how time takes. For the owl,
Yes.
first there is night, and then there is not night, but there is darkness, and there
Hmm.
is then light. But for
Yes.
humans, there is light, then darkness, then again light, then darkness. But for
Hmm.
owl, it's change. But again, when it will be change when we see it. But for the owl, it's all the same, it's the whole reality.
Yes.
So it's about the perspective. So
No, definitely.
if I'm used to certain perspective, I will believe that to be reality. And
Hmm.
that owl is used to a different perspective. That perspective will be that owl's reality, which will be different from mine. But again, if the owl would be having some way to communicate to humans, then that owl will be thinking to us, are humans stupid? They they they
Why
they
are they
literally
awake,
wake up.
right?
They are awake at the day and they are sleeping at night. Why? Like, are they stupid? So
Yeah.
it's just a matter of perspective.
True. So
Hmm.
here's a random question, and I don't
Yeah,
know the answer to this, but
I love
maybe
random question. Yeah, I
I
love random
I don't
questions.
know
Yeah.
if you know this answer or not. But in
Okay.
space, right? In
Hmm.
space with the astronauts, let's just say, what is the
Hmm.
difference with the timing for them? Even,
Hmm.
you know how you said we can see as stars that are gone already. So when we're getting messages back from
Hmm.
the space station or astronauts that are out there, what's the difference
Hmm.
in the time and how is it affected when it comes through space?
So when you go like the beyond Earth, when you leave the atmosphere of Earth, when you leave Earth, a lot of things happen. Like the gravity starts to play in. The more closer you are to the center of the earth, the more time ticks slow. And that is what has been proven in general theory of relativity by the
Okay.
great genius Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
And the more farther, like the farther away you are from the center, the slower time. Oh, actually, I think yeah, right. So the farther away you are from the center, the faster time would take, and the closer you are to the center of a gravity, or the closer to you are to the center of the Earth, the
Hmm.
slower time would take. That's how
Okay.
that's how GR or general relativity plays in. So when you are out there, when you are in the space, when you are, let's say, like basically when we say astronaut in space, we are actually mentioning that astronaut in the space station, the
Yes.
International Space Station,
Mhm.
ISS. So the astronaut in there, their time is actually ticking faster
Oh,
as
wow.
compared to our time. Their clocks are actually literally ticking faster as compared to our clocks. So the GPS data, the GPS satellite that is revolving around the sun,
Hmm.
around the Earth, not sun, around the Earth. So the data that we receive from out there, the space, the GPS data that we receive from the satellite, from the out there in the Earth, out there beyond the Earth, the
Hmm.
data that we receive, that the data that we receive is actually based on the clock ticking faster. So when we receive data on a GPS, we have to pre-correct the data, the received data, to
Ah.
uh, sync with our timing. So the Google Maps that we use the most to
Hmm.
navigate,
Hmm.
those maps are the traffic or the path that shows.
Hmm.
Those data must be pre-corrected in order to sync with our clock.
Wow.
So
So
that's
you're
what happened.
playing with
And
time a little bit,
yeah, so
right?
that's how, like, this time travel happens all the time. We are actually playing with time. We are actually not directly playing with time. We are actually indirectly playing with time. We are actually playing with the data
Mm-hmm.
associated with time. So, and
Yes.
we know that there is no universal time. There is only local time, and local
Mm-hmm.
time depends upon the locality around you. If you
Mm-hmm.
are in a higher gravitational zone, time would take slower for you, and if you are moving faster, then again time takes slower for you. For example, if you
Yes.
are near the edge of a black hole, time would go really crazily slow for you, as observed by someone out there. And
Mm-hmm.
as you move faster, and then again time slow. And okay, the about the time zone for the astronauts, I've read that, like, I may be wrong, but again, uh, those astronauts in the space station out there, ISS, International Space Station, they encounter the sunrise and sunset around
Mm-hmm.
16 times a day,
Oh,
if
wow.
I'm not wrong, around 16 times, because they are in the space station, and the space station is revolving around our Earth with a
Right.
certain speed, and I don't remember, it's around 1,000 kilometer per hour or something like that. So with that speed, it actually revolving around the Earth, and that is why the sunset and the sunrise are perceived early to an astronaut
Mm.
as compared to us here on Earth, because they are
Wow.
actually revolving, they are actually getting closer to witnessing the sunrise and sunset.
It must
So
be
yeah,
very confusing sometimes because they're out in space, which is dark, right?
yeah,
But yet
it's
they're
very
seeing the
confusing.
sunrise at the same
Hmm.
token. So uh,
Hmm.
that must change their circadian rhythm a little bit.
Yeah, there's too much thing happening. Like, first of all, there's no gravity. There is zero gravity out there in space, and
Right.
they when first of all they have to get used to the gravity. So before going to the space station, there are a whole lot of training that
Oh, yes,
an
definitely.
astronaut has to do with it, has to go with it. So once they have acquired all the knowledge to be in the space, when they sent out there to the space, and when they get used to that environment, when they get used to the zero gravity and the darkness of the space,
Hmm.
and when they come back here on Earth, those astronauts again, they feel
They need
very
time.
confusing, because
Yeah.
yeah, they need time to just basically uh, live on Earth, because they basically forget how to live on Earth once they are
Hmm.
in the space. So
Oh,
when they
yeah,
are
definitely.
when they come back here on Earth, they have to sort of relive again how to
Yep.
walk and how to stand still, how to breathe,
Yes.
and just how to just be in gravity. So
Yeah,
hmm,
definitely. Okay, so
hmm,
here's another question for you. So we agree that time and when or where, right? When and where are
hmm,
the two
yeah,
two important pieces that you need. But
yes,
does it matter if everybody agrees at a specific time, no matter what it
hmm,
is, right?
hmm,
Then it doesn't affect things as much. Like, for example, you and myself, we have different time zones, but we knew exactly which time to meet up in our
hmm,
prospective places, right? But
hmm.
what about daylight savings time? Have you heard of that? That's when they switch the clock times back or forward. They do that here. And
Okay, I didn't know about
so
that. I didn't know that. Yeah,
you don't know that? Okay,
no,
so what they do,
yeah,
that's why, okay, so what they do here is certain times during the year, they'll move
hmm,
the clocks ahead 1 hour, and then
hmm.
another time of the year, they'll move the clocks back 1 hour. And they do this based off
Ah,
of like it used to be with farmers because they knew in winter it would get
hmm.
darker sooner. In spring it will be lighter longer. So what they did was they made
Okay.
everyone change their clocks so it would give that extra time to do the work or to be back home. So, for example, in November,
Hmm.
we here have to change our clocks, and
Oh,
it changes our whole time zones time, and we all end up agreeing on the time, and that's it. So. Because as a
Interesting.
large, yeah, as a large group, many states, I don't know how if other countries are doing this, but in the United States, many of the states all
Hmm.
change it. But they've been
Hmm.
discussing possibly ending that practice, because they said it doesn't really affect things as much anymore. That's
Hmm.
what they've been saying. So, but you can tell the difference because it does get darker quicker in the winter and it
Hmm.
does stay sunnier longer during the summer. So
Yeah.
now we're messing with time again, right?
Hmm. We
Um,
are all the time. We are always messing with time.
Always messing with time.
Hmm.
This is my question. If everyone agrees on a
Hmm.
specific time, then that does that really change anything if we all know the time and we know when and where? Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because this is a
Yeah.
perfect example. We all the states agree, okay, on this day at midnight, the clocks will go backward or they go forward, and you lose an hour or you gain an hour.
Okay.
So once everybody's in agreement, but
Hmm.
but for example, let's say I have to go fly to say California, okay?
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
is 3 hours behind my time zone. So
Hmm.
we would still switch our clocks the hour behind or forward, and then that 3 hour difference
Okay.
is still there. It still stays the same. So you don't
Yeah. Right.
change
Right.
that
Right.
part of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Locally speaking, like at the local vicinity around you, that will possibly not have any significant difference at all. Like if we all agree to one time zone clock,
Yep.
but even like uh, just think about it that if we assign just only one universal or like the whole earth time, just
Yep.
one time to every country, then we still have to figure it out like how to account the days and night, because when like right now here is night and then at your place it's a day.
Yes.
So we still have to figure out something like that should be in common. So
Yes.
how do we balance that day and night thing? Even though we are agreeing on same time, but still we have to maintain a balance between day and night. So I mean,
Hmm.
it's not very necessary to do that. Again, it will not be locally speaking, it will not affect anything significantly. But when like at a greater scale, it
Hmm.
might affect whether again it's very confusing. Like if I'm saying at night it's 10, and you're saying it's a day 10, even though it's
Yes.
I'm saying it's at the same time 10, but again I'm saying it's 10 at night, it's 10 at day. So
Yes.
it's one and the same thing.
No, definitely. They have also another interesting thing
Mm.
that I find, and it's similar to the nocturnal thing. In
Mm.
Alaska, they
Mm.
have it where it stays light for like almost 24 hours
Ah, right, right,
sometimes,
right.
right? So
Yeah,
because of the
yeah.
location, so people have to like
Mm.
get I guess blackout windows, ways
Mm.
to keep it dark so it doesn't mess with their circadian rhythm, right? The same type of thing.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
like you said, depending on the location, how close you are to something, how far you are from something,
Mm.
it's again back to adapting, right?
Mm. Basically, you
It's
have to adapt.
yes, right? The end
Mm.
result is no matter what it is, you have to adapt, but it still will
Mm.
be part of um the time and when, like
Mm.
where and
Because
the time.
and the time, because see, sun is always there, and the earth is always rotating. So until
Yes.
and unless earth is rotating and the sun is there, and even though you just have this one time zone, but still the earth is always rotating, you have to still, the time zone will still be changing. So instead of just having one time zone changing, we just account okay different time zone, different location, so that nobody gets freaks out. Okay, just stay one time zone and it's only changing and changing.
Yes. They've had
Mm.
where during they did a study where there was an
Mm.
eclipse and it's very
Mm.
dark because of the sun and the moon,
Mm.
blocking out
Mm.
each other. And all of
Mm.
the nocturnal animals came out because they thought it was nighttime.
Night time,
Um,
yeah.
right? So it
Hmm.
can show how just little differences can affect everything. Where people think that
Hmm.
it's night, where they're perceiving it's night, but it's really daytime. In Alaska, it
Daytime.
looks like it's daytime, but it's really nighttime. So it
Hmm.
just shows that your perception of it is one thing versus your knowledge of it. So you can
Hmm.
see it and know, okay, it's morning, but it's nighttime, and you know the eclipse is
Hmm.
about to happen. So it's
Hmm.
almost like you have to train your mind to be aware that
Hmm.
this is just a one-time thing, you know?
Yeah, there's a difference between perception and what's there out there. Like what's the perception and existence.
Yes,
So whatever is out there and whatever you perceive from out there can be different, but yet you will never know it. Even
yes,
though the pen right here is there, but still I agree that this pen exists because I see it. I can,
right.
interact with it. But there could be ways that this pen, like whatever I'm perceiving about this pen, even just touching it, even just, from my fundamental five senses, this whole can be just a perception, and this pen may not even exist at this place. Maybe it's just not there at all, or not
Mm,
exist at the first place. But still, my perception is that this pen exists, so it should exist.
mhm.
So that's what perception creates. Like even though maybe the world is not here anymore, but still
Right.
the perception is what is keeping the world alive. I mean,
Yes.
I've just, I just think about it a lot. Like, there is no way we can prove that the world around here is like maybe not exist or exist. It's just
Right.
that we say that it exists because it exists. We
Right.
have no
We choose
counter
it
counter
to.
arguments here. Yeah, right. We
Right.
choose it to because
Right.
that's how we experienced it. That's how we perceive it.
Yes.
Our most of our reality is not based upon existence, but it is based upon our perception, what we
True.
think out there. The world is not existing, but but how we think or what we think that the world exists, that makes it exist. We think
Yes.
that's why that exists.
Yes. I
So
mean,
that's
just like you
whole
said
philosophy of, yeah.
with the stars, we see them,
Hmm.
but that doesn't mean that they're
Hmm.
there. So it's our
Yeah, right,
perception that
right.
right? Our perception is that they're there,
Hmm.
but they could have
Hmm.
been gone a long time ago.
A long
So,
time ago, yeah, but hmm.
right? Yes.
Hmm.
So, okay, so I'm going to start to end our podcast, and I just kind of
Yeah.
wanted to recap a little bit.
Hmm.
We were talking about space and time,
Space and time.
right?
Yeah. Hmm.
And past, present, future combination. True.
Hmm. Yes.
And then also I would say perception is a big key of the discussion that we were talking about because it is based off of, when and where
Yeah,
and
exactly.
whether or not you consider it day or night. True.
Hmm. Hmm.
And same thing if you're talking about space itself, you said it's a little bit faster up there. So we kind
Hmm.
of
Yeah, right.
meddle in time
Yeah,
ourselves.
we just touched a lot of topics. So yeah,
Yes.
we just touched time, day and night thing, perception, existence, and space and
Yes.
time. Time itself, there's a whole new, a different topic that we just
There,
touched today.
there's a lot of time to talk about time, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, at that same token, I wanted to
Hmm.
let people know that you actually have written a book. So there it is, How to Explain Time Travel to Your Grandkids. And
Yeah.
so speaking of time, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Speaking of time
Um,
again.
yes, this is a great opportunity if you wanted to enjoy having different conversations with your
Hmm.
grandchildren, your children, even yourself. You can
Yourself,
learn a
exactly.
lot with the information that he has in there. So definitely check it out. You can find it on Amazon. I'll put some links for you in the comments. He also is the content creator for Siestro, and he does
Yes. Hmm.
yes, He has a newsletter
Hmm.
on LinkedIn. If you're interested, you can find
Hmm.
him there. And
Hmm.
there's a lot of other information that I'll be posting in the comments for you to take a look. And
Hmm.
we're always having our podcast here, enjoying different topics. If there's something you yourself are interested to hear us talk about, feel free to put a comment, and I'm sure that we will be happy to talk about it, right?
Yes.
All right. So again, thank you so much for talking with me. I appreciate it. This has been wonderful as usual. I'm learning a lot each time
Hmm.
that we talk. So thank you very much.
Thank you, man.